What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com.
Here are my DFS picks for NFL playoffs, conference championships, top DFS picks.
These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button
And hit that bell icon.
so you don't miss our new videos.
In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for this week's NFL slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, let's take a look at the quarterback position. I like Josh Allen from the Buffalo Bills playing the Kansas City Chiefs, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall, but they give up the 11th most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. This is the best quarterback matchup on the slate. Josh Allen has averaged 27.3 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 6.4 rush attempts per game. So he also has the most rushing upside on the slate. He scored 13, 35, and 20 fantasy points in the last 3 games, and he got 7, 11, and 2 rush attempts in those games. So he had a bad week last week, only scored 13 fantasy points, but I'm expecting a big bounce back game from Josh Allen, and he's going to be about 36% owned, projected at 25.2 fantasy points here in the conference championships. He's 6,900 DraftKings salary and 1,600 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks this is going to be a high-scoring game. 54 points scored in this game, with the Buffalo Bills trailing by 3. So I like Josh Allen because of his rushing upside in this high-scoring game. He's got a good matchup, and he should be playing from behind in this game, forced to pass the ball. So I like Josh Allen here versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, let's take a look at the running back position. I like Leonard Fournette from the Tampa Bay Bucks playing the Green Bay Packers, who have a good defense overall, and they give up the 5th most fantasy points to opposing running backs. And this is the best running back matchup on the slate. Leonard Fournette has averaged 10.4 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 7.5 rush attempts per game and 3.6 pass targets per game. But take a look at his last 2 games. He scored 22 and 23 fantasy points off of 17 and 19 rush attempts. He also had 6 and 4 pass targets in those games. He's going to be about 32% owned, projected at 13.9 fantasy points here in the conference championships. He's 5,300 DraftKings salary and 1,900 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 51.5 points scored in this game, with the Tampa Bay Bucks trailing by 3.5. So great running back matchup. He's been getting a ton of work. So I like Leonard Fournette here versus the Green Bay Packers.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all the tools for NFL. NBA is right around the corner. This is a great time to get in and try everything for 1 month. The tools are all about saving research time. You can see the last 3 games, the fantasy points per game, the targets they got per game, so you can see how involved they are in the offense, the rushes they got per game. Seeing all this stuff on one screen helps you save time and make better picks. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, let's take a look at the wide receiver position. I'm going to give you a value play here. This is also a sleeper pick. I like Marquez Valdes-Scantling from the Green Bay Packers playing the Tampa Bay Bucks, who have a good defense overall, and they're middle of the pack defending opposing wide receivers. Marquez Valdes-Scantling has averaged
8.8 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 3.9 pass targets per game. He scored 7 and 17 fantasy points in the last 2 games off of 8 and 3 pass targets. He's only going to be about 2% owned, projected at 10.3 fantasy points here in the conference championships, and he's only $3,900 DraftKings salary and $1,600 more on FanDuel. So I like Marquez Valdes-Scantling here versus the Tampa Bay Bucks. Now I can see why his ownership is going to be so low, because for only $300 more on DraftKings, you can play Allen Lazard, who got 8 pass targets last game and scored 20 fantasy points. So Allen Lazard averages 10.1 fantasy points per game, and he's going to be about 17% owned. He's projected at 11.3 fantasy points here in the conference championships, and he's $4,200 DraftKings salary and $1,500 more on FanDuel. So I think it's a coin flip between these two players with the slight edge to Allen Lazard. But if you're looking for that low ownership tournament play, I think Marquez Valdes-Scantling is a better tournament play, with Allen Lazard being a much more safer play. Okay, let's take a look at the tight end position. I like Rob Gronkowski from the Tampa Bay Bucks playing the Green Bay Packers, who have a good defense overall, and they've been good versus opposing tight ends. But Rob Gronkowski has averaged 9.5 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 4.8 pass targets per game. You're going to get Rob Gronkowski at low ownership, only about 7% owned. He hasn't done much lately, only 2 fantasy points last game, but he did get 5 pass targets. He's projected at 9.6 fantasy points here in the conference championships, and he's only $3,200 DraftKings salary and $2,000 more on FanDuel. So Cameron Brate has been the more productive tight end for the Tampa Bay Bucks. Although Cameron Brate is only going to be about 2% owned, he makes for a nice sleeper pick. But Rob Gronkowski, it just feels like he's got a little bit more upside if he can get going with Tom Brady. So I like Rob Gronkowski here versus the Green Bay Packers.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video, or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NFL slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.